Hey friends, welcome back to my studio. Today I'm going to paint a Highland cow on a 12-inch by 12-inch canvas. This one is 1.5 inches thick, but it's from Creative Mark. Yeah, Creative Mark, The Edge. I really like these too. I like the gallery wrapped and spline canvases. They're just fun. I've tightened it with water. I can link how to tighten a canvas in this video's description. Here. The reference photos on Pixabay. Isn't that fun? I love the expression. You can't see the eyes, which is really fun. Let's walk through our colors quick and then we'll jump in. I'm going to use raw sienna because it's a great convenience color out of the tube for painting that color of a cow. These are all going to be Liquitex. Titanium white. Sometimes I use the heavy body. Yellow, because I'm going to probably want to warm up and lighten up the raw sienna. So cad yellow medium hue. And then I'm going to use phthalo blue green shade and make a muted sky. And then I might throw in a little quinacridone magenta and pink up the nose at the end. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I've made a mistake already. I forgot to mention Mars Black. I left it out of the beginning of the video. So I mixed a little Mars Black in with my phthalo blue green shade. And I have titanium white. I drew a line down about 3 inches. Can you see that? I drew it with a charcoal pencil. You could put tape. And this is going to be my sky up here. You could put tape down. So I've done that in the past. I like it, except for then I get a ridge. So I think I'm just gonna, I might still get a ridge, but I'm gonna see if it works a little bit better. I'm just lightening up my charcoal line with a kneaded eraser. We'll see what happens here. And I also want to get it painted before I go make dinner. Then it can dry and we can maybe transfer the cow on. So I have a 1 inch after dinner, sorry. I have a 1 inch flat brush from Low Cornell. I'm just gonna grab some white. I do a simple sky because I'm gonna do a big, basically a portrait of a Highland cow. Phthalo blue looks great, works really well too. This will be slightly greener. Ooh, that's really dark. Let's grab some white. I just like mixing it up a little bit. So that is all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna paint the top, and then I also will probably paint the sides off camera because you can't really see it. I need to, if you get paint on your clothes, hand sanitizer or rubbing alcohol works great. Let it sit on there and it breaks down the paint. I suppose eventually, oops, sorry, I just hit my phone. I suppose eventually it'll ruin your clothes, but it works great to get the paint out. I use it in brushes too because I buy synthetic brushes, so they're pretty sturdy. What I might do is dry the top of the hairdryer so I can flip it. See, I can see this side, but I can't see what I'm doing over here. I mixed plenty of that phthalo blue because I'm going to add so much white to it. Oh, and I just added a lot of dark. So I have a sweeping sky video. I can link that in this video's description. That's all I'm doing. We're just going to sweep back and forth. It's darker than I think I want it. I have to add more white. Okay, I'm going to dry this with a hair dryer and flip it so I can paint along the, well, I could kind of paint along the edge. It's a little upside down for me. I'm trying to grab some white. So that's one thing about videoing is I'm standing off to the right of my canvas And then my phone is videoing just slightly left of center of the canvas. You can tell by the angle. Well, actually, I'm doing a pretty good job. It's just darker than I want it. You know what? If I wipe off my brush on a paper towel, because I've got it so loaded, maybe a little water too, I've got it so loaded with blue paint. I think that's what the issue is. Plus I've got a little blue paint here. Okay, guys, I'm going to dry this with a hair dryer so I can add some more white, and I'll be back in a bit. Just a couple of comments. So I'm going to start a new palette, but I mixed cad yellow with a little bit of black to get that sort of, what color is that? Kind of a sage green. Not sure if you can totally, colors will change depending on what device you're watching this on, what I'm videoing it with, my lighting in my studio, all that changes the color. And I'm mostly concerned about this corner. There's a few brush marks in here, but the cow is going to go over a good chunk of the right hand side. And what I was concerned about this horizon line, but the horns may cover it all up, the horns and the head. I might not need to have done all that. I've got kind of a darker blue or green line, and then I came back with some white, and then I came back a little bit with a little bit more white again. I'm not sure exactly how much is going to be covered up. I don't know if I need to really show you up close. I don't know, oops, my palette's in the way here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it better. I painted the line, a couple of lines, like this one is a creamy lighter line, off the time lapse, because sometimes it helps to hold it to paint it. You don't have to leave it on your easel. I like to hold, a lot of times hold a smaller canvas when I paint them. And it goes over onto the sides too. I've just got a really simple background. Oh, I wonder if I need to straighten it. Oh, that's just the angle. I might need to straighten that side a little bit. I'm gonna let it dry, have some dinner, and then I'll be back in a bit. Hey friends, let's chat for a second. Okay, I printed out the cow reference photo. I'll link the link to this photo in the video's description, to 12 by 12. And so you can see I taped it. Maybe you can't see I taped it, but I taped it and then scribbled on the back. And I showed you that I hold it up to a window and kind of lightly find the cow, and then I come back and make it darker. Now I want you to consider to use a traceable that's the photo, because you'll get to know the shape of the nostril and the nose. If you use my traceable, you'll get to know the shape of the nostril and the nose. I don't have a traceable for this one, but I think you'll see it better. And then you say, well, I don't draw as well. Well, you're using my traceable. You can draw that well. That's not that great looking. It's not that great looking. And then you may want more help, depending on how much detail you're going to paint. You may want more or less of the hair pieces. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't draw much of the hair pieces up here. I did put a shadow there. You may want more of those in there. So it's just something to think about. And I think I think it'll turn out better if you use the reference photo. Now, you're more than welcome to use my traceables. I clearly make them for you guys. I love doing it. Whatever. I appreciate your feedback too on this point. I forgot where I was going to go. Oh, because you think it helps you with your drawing? I think I already said that. Sorry, I totally lost my point. I think tracing the photo will help you more with the drawing. Oh, because the traceable is sort of like, if you guys are old enough, you remember like you kept an original and then you use that to Xerox, because if you kept using a Xerox of a Xerox, it started to break down and not be as good. That's happening a little bit when you use my traceable. It's my interpretation, my drawing of the thing. In this case, a Highland cow. So it loses a little in translation too, where if you trace it from the photo, it's more of a direct translation. Hey, I remembered, I got it. Okay, I'm gonna save my background palette. It's pretty much used up. Well, I've got some of my sky blue on there still. I'm gonna save it and start a new palette. I will put some blue in, like in the nostrils and the ears, but I'm going to start out with the raw sienna, the Mars black, and the titanium white, and maybe some cad yellow too. I think I already showed you these. There's the raw sienna. I probably showed you the student grade titanium white. This is a heavy body titanium white. As long as I'm doing them, and there's Mars black. And start working on the values of the cow. Okay, I think that brings us up to speed. All right, guys, I'll be back in a bit. Sorry, I forgot. I wanted to remember. It took me an hour and a half to paint this background. Some of it is it just needed more layers. I kept messing with the white in the sky. Oh, the horns do pretty much cover. Look at that. That line, a couple lines I paid attention to, totally gonna get lost. They aren't on the sides, but they'll get lost. They're lost. That's okay. And then sometimes my colors are transparent, so it'll depend on the brand of paint you're using. And so like with this semi-transparent yellow, and when I make a green with it, it just needs more coats. Okay, I'm gonna make sure. Oh yeah, the Phthalo blue-green shade is completely transparent. You can see that if I get it close. I can't tell if that's focusing because I'm just to the side of my phone. That box is open, so that means it's completely or really transparent. Whereas on this, the titanium white, it's closed, so it's an opaque color. And then on some of them, it's half and half. Okay, guys, for real now. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I wanted to pop in. So I haven't talked about my palette. I ended up putting some Quinacridone Magenta out because I'm going to use a kind of pinky brown for the nose. That's quite rusty right now. Here, if I add a little white to it, it'll get pinkier. Actually, I might need a little more brown in there. I can always do that. Okay, I'm using a 1/4 inch flat brush. I'm going to clean it out now. I always get off track. Because it fits real well for a lot of these shapes, and I can turn it on its side. It's a little small for this shape, but overall it fits for the small shadow shapes I'm painting. On cows, quite often I paint the horns first, or sometimes I'll paint the nose first, because the hair is going to come over it, and the horns aren't done, but they're in good shape. My light's coming from the top. I've got Mr. Sun up there. If you want, it's not quite a 4-inch sticker. It's a sticker I have in my merch shop below this video, or you can click the shop button on YouTube. It is, it's kind of 4 inches from Sun sun ray to sun ray, so from like here to here. I need to order a new one. It's getting bent. I've got paint on it. Okay, what else? Oh, I guess as long as we're talking, in the video's description, I have links to, this is a Royal and Langnickel brush, Princeton brushes. I have some links below to Amazon. Okay, so I'm painting the shapes I see. So this here was a better shape. This right here is a triangle shape. Now it's not exactly a triangle in the reference photo. It's that shape right there. I'm trying to see my phone to see if you can see. I think you can see what I'm pointing to right there. But it's close. And then when I come back over with a lighter value, I can kind of wiggle it and shape it a little more. What else? Oh, another thought I had while I was painting is, see how I kind of have like brown and a black dot and brown and a black dot, and then I go quite black. The cow's a little darker over on this side than over on this side, even though the sun's coming from the top. Because there's light bouncing off of things or coming from other... We don't know what's around this cow since it's cropped in, but there's light that comes around. I'm changing my colors a little bit. I don't know if I like them yet, but I mixed kind of a green with the raw sienna and the phthalo blue green shade. And I'm putting some of that in the shadows. I mixed a dark brown with raw sienna and black. That's all that is. And then I can kind of come in and, oops, I got too much of a blob. And kind of paint this shape now. So you can draw as much detail as you want from the reference photo to help you. Or you can just draw it straight onto your canvas. Up to you. I use a traceable because it speeds it up. The faster I can paint, the more money I can make, because the more paintings I can get done. I'm going to pull out just a couple little hairs. It's a little too soon for that, but it'll remind me. Just kind of scrub that shape in there. Okay, and the other main thing I wanted to say is we are now 2 hours later. I'm not gonna do every time. I don't know, I might. I'm probably gonna get involved in the painting. But I thought, okay, it has taken me 2 hours to put in some of these shapes, the horns, and I haven't even gotten the shapes of the nose and the mouth in quite yet. So I thought that might be helpful for you guys. It's, for me, like I didn't know exactly where this shadow was, so I started putting in the shadows around the face because I could see better with my reference photo where those probably go. The ears are pretty easy to see for me. You know, it's like putting a puzzle together or building a foundation on a house. You just start kind of at the bottom structure of the cow. And a lot of times it's helpful to find the shadows because then you can paint. You don't have to necessarily paint every hair. I can take a bigger brush and, you know, just paint in the lighter areas, and then I can either use the same brush or go down in size, it doesn't matter, and put in some lighter ones. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I mostly wanted to pop in and tell you I've been working on this for 2 hours, and I don't know if it looks, oop, I got a shadow. I opened my window, so now I've got a shadow. I don't know if it looks like that's 2 hours worth of work. Okay, guys, I'll be back in a bit. Hey, it's been another 2 hours and I was kind of chuckling because I said I wasn't going to come in with too many more time references. It's almost it's 9 o'clock at night, my time. So I've worked on it for 6 hours today. Add the background 7.5 hours. And a little longer because I tightened the canvas, did the traceable. This one's going to take me a while because I enjoy finding all the different pieces. But you can see, like here I just kind of found a hair and a hair. And you can see the green coming through, but then I start filling in with some color. So, and I also started with some lighter areas with kind of a yellowy, orangey. It probably looks yellow on the video, yellow color. I have put a couple of coats down here. This area goes faster, but you can see, I haven't talked about this in a little while. Let's see if you can see it. When the acrylic paint dries, it shrinks and leaves like little pops of the green color coming through, which can be okay, or if you're like me, you want to put on more paint. I don't know if, hopefully you can see it. I don't know if you can see that. I did paint the sides. It's not just kind of like first coat. I'm trying to get it. Oh, it's pretty good in frame. What else? Oh, the brushes. I'm using a new 3/4 inch flat brush. It might be called a shader. It came in a pack. A little plastic Ziploc of 4 or 5 brushes, and I can't remember. 3/4 inch Royal and Langnickel. Really like it. The rubber grip is nice. I like that. I'm using a 1/2 inch brush from Michaels. I would rather you just use this 3/4 of an inch, but sometimes I just couldn't quite get the curve. So I dropped down to the 1/2 inch, which is an Artist Loft brush from Michaels, or a 1/4 inch from Royal and Langnickel. Because sometimes you can get you can turn quicker when it's a smaller brush. But like with this brush, I can cover more area. Okay, so I'm piecing it together. So like this ear is much more put together. This ear of course isn't. But you can see how how did I know what order to do this in? Well, I mentioned that the hair is going to go on top of the horns. A lot of hair is going to go over the nose, or little hairs. And then I started working on this because I'm going to have some hairs that come down over the shadowed area of the cow. So basically back to front. So this is further back. These hairs come over. That kind of thing. And then I also kind of just work it a little bit. Like I worked on the dark areas and I came back and you'll notice in the time lapse I put in some lights. Oh, and I've got a ridge. I didn't want that. I didn't use tape. But I've got a ridge here where I put on some thick paint trying to get coverage. I don't know if you can see that. Right there, kind of. Here, I'll move my palette and we'll do a little, see if we can do a little tour. My phone is quite close to me and quite close to this painting. Don't really need Mr. Sun. Sun's coming from the top. When I look at it on my phone, it's looking pretty good already. Your eye, the phone blends it, smooths it out, and then your eye will, they call it optical blending. Will blend it optically. I'm laughing. Oops, I'm trying to move it back. Sorry, guys. It's interesting trying to get it square at the angle and everything. That gives you a pretty good idea. Maybe you want to see the nose closer. There aren't any eyes on this one. You might like that. I do have a Highland Cow traceable. I might have 2. I know I have 1 for sure. I'll link that in this video's description. So the upside of a Highland Cow is that there isn't any eyes, and you could paint it more simply than I am. I just enjoy the wavy curly hairs, but you could just take a big brush and paint it much more simple. Okay, well, I will be back tomorrow. I just wanted to pop in because I was done for the day and I realized there's another 2 hours, which I thought was ironic. Okay, guys, back tomorrow. friends, just a couple of things I'm thinking. So I've put in quite a few shapes. My hairs don't match the hair on the reference photo, but it's close. It's, you know, I'm taking cues from the reference photo. One thing I'm kind of thinking is maybe darker, rustier over here and then lighter up over here. At the very end there, like I've painted in detail, I've painted out detail here. I think I'm gonna come in and put bigger brush strokes in. I like the ears, I like the body. Or maybe just fewer brush strokes, kind of unify some of them. I've done one, I'll link the video, called Hippie Hair, where I did spaghetti hair and it was kind of fun. But I don't know if I want so much spaghetti hair on this one. So I might kind of smooth some of it out, shape it up. I do that sometimes, like with a pet portrait. I'll get in a lot of little detail and I'll come back and paint more shapes, less lines. That's all I'm thinking right now. I'm gonna quit for today. Oh, I can see a little green coming through. I don't want the green. Of course, I don't know what color I want that yet, exactly. I don't know, it might also be better than I think it is. Oh, except for I need to kind of do something over here too. I like this better when I put in the bigger strokes. We'll see what happens. Oh, and I put a little pink on the nose, mostly because I just wasn't happy yet with what's going on up here. But it just sometimes takes working with it, and then maybe sometimes I'll paint out the detail and I'll come back and put it in. It's just kind of, you play with the values and how much detail you want, and just see what you like, I guess. I don't know if that, hopefully that makes sense. I think it'll be fun to put in some little ones up here too. Oh, and I darkened the horns. I like that better. Okay, guys, hopefully those comments help a little bit, and I'll be back tomorrow. Hey friends, I'm done. So this is the next day. I played with this area some more. Put in like a shadow, put in, you know what, I could put in a little more yellow. The yellow's transparent and I had it pretty watery. Just to kind of pull that forward maybe. Oh, I don't know if that's gonna do anything though. Sometimes you just have to try it and see if it, so if it won't go lighter for you, and you want more contrast and you go darker, but I don't think I want more contrast. I glazed a little yellow in some areas, glazed a little aqua color. I had some down here and then it kind of grays out. I put some thin right here, just because it's in the shadow. It helps tie in the blue sky a little bit. You could use blue. You could use straight up phthalo blue. I bounced around, which I think I've mentioned, the 1/4 inch flat brush from Royal and Langnickel, the 3/4 inch flat brush from Royal and Langnickel, and then a 1/2 inch flat brush from Michaels. Just depending how much control or what I felt like. If you want a looser painting, they say use a bigger brush. But sometimes I like to put in the twists. Oh, and here, I have lots of thoughts. So like I just have this white little stroke here, but it really could be a continuation of a stroke. And then like this is yellow and then it goes lighter. That's kind of a tip. Some of these strokes, oh, that one doesn't, but they go darker as they go into the shadow. So you can paint the whole stroke and then you can make it darker. This is a decent example. Have it darker where it goes into the shadow and you don't even see it coming out, and then it's brighter and then it goes whiter, it just changes in value, is what I'm trying to say there. That can help it look like more realistic hair. But you don't have to get that all right on the first try. Like I came back and tipped these with a little yellow. And then I made this one lighter than that one. So it kind of pulls it forward and up. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Oh, and then I'm going to call this long hair, don't care. It's very similar to stray hair. I might have said hippie hair. I get them confused. Where I did more detail here and then softer for here. So just another way to keep you focused on the head. And then also this is darker and more muted. So the combination of softer and darker, stronger edges, lighter, more vibrant colors. Just keeps your hair a little bit more. Oh, and I gave long hair, don't care a little bit of an underbite because it has a lighter area here on the chin. Let's show you. But I made it lighter than it is in the reference photo. Oh, sorry about all the lights and the glare. I think you can see that pretty well. Which pulls his chin forward and gives him a little bit more, maybe in mid-chew, even though it's straight on, or a little bit of an underbite. I don't mind that at all. If you don't like that, you can like darken this part and then darken this part, and then that'll push it back. I didn't know if I was going to put anything in here. You could put some flowers, hints of flowers, but I liked it. I thought it was good. Paint it onto the sides. And just kind of a lot of wet on wet and coming back over it just to fill in the canvas and then to make it soft. But you don't have to do it all at once. You can let it dry, you can come back and put another layer on. The horn goes over onto this side. Oh, and then just kind of messy. Can you see that? I don't know if I can get it in. It's kind of messy on the bottom. What else? I don't do traceables for every video. I'm starting to recommend recently use the photo because you'll see things that you might need to draw in, and you can draw it as detailed as you want, and you also then get to know the shapes of the thing you're painting. So I think it helps on a couple of different levels, and then it'll help you with your drawing skills. It's good practice to trace a photo. Okay guys, love hanging out with you. Super appreciate your support. Great big happy art hugs, and I hope to chat with you soon. Bye guys.